with the protests in France, with what's going on in Great Britain, is that nationalism and populism, which sometimes has an ugly face in the United States, it's existential in Europe. You can't pool sovereignty in the European Union in a situation where you have so much nationalism and populism. And I think that's what the vote actually will come down to in the end in the UK. I don't think the EU is going to give much ground, probably not enough ground for Theresa May to get her Parliament vote. And then the question becomes, do you have a second referendum?
Right.
Months ago, I argued with Larry Kudlow before he was in the White House on this program that I thought ultimately the British would come to their senses and have a second referendum and stay in because it's really in their interest. I certainly wouldn't bet on it now, but there's a higher possibility of a second referendum now than there was even 2-3 months ago.
But Fred, it's hard to say it's in their interest when half of the population said, we don't want it. Like, even whether or not it's going to be messy and cause a near-term financial hit, they said, we don't, look, this is following on from the European migration crisis. This is following on from, Macron suggesting he'd give up the French, seat at the UN to Europe. The UK doesn't want to see its voice eroded like that. So you still think that they're going to go ahead and do what you say is the right thing. But there might be plenty of people there who think if Theresa May doesn't deliver Brexit, they'll be more furious with the leadership than ever.
I've never seen my stiff upper lip, very pragmatic British friends so shaken. And certainly the public mood has shifted from the original vote on Brexit. Has it shifted enough that the British voters would vote to come in? I don't know. But to have a second referendum, you would have to have the Parliament approve it. And the Parliament, by a majority, would approve a second referendum. Right now, Theresa May is saying that there will be no second referendum. She won't back down on the direction she's taking. But members of her party may make that in the end impossible.
Shall we go to France, Fred?
Sure.
Let's go to France. Macron, in the last few minutes, has been giving an address to the nation in which he's dangling lots of tax relief for pensioners, indicating that he wants to raise wages for government workers and other forms of relief. Will that quiet the riots?
Well, I thought things would have been quieted last week when he made some similar soundings and moves, and they weren't. So I think what you've got is the same people who voted for Macron because they thought he was going to be a change from the establishment parties now are turning against Macron because they think he's one of them, because he thinks he is for the elites and he isn't for the people. And so the same the same populism that brought him into power now has turned against him. I think he's weakened. Now he's got a long presidential term. You don't have, with a parliamentary situation, a chance where he's going to have a vote of no confidence and recall. But nevertheless, his popularity ratings, his approval ratings are down so low that it's hard to see how he can come back, and I don't think he's going to turn around the popular opposition by ceding ground. That may just encourage people and saying, look, if we push this hard on his reform plans, on everything he wants to do with the economy, why stop now?